We are now live, and hello and welcome
Hello.
to another episode of The Human Quotient. And as we always say, in the world where everybody's talking about AI, we talk about people. We talk about humans and we talk about human capabilities. And today we are going to talk about a very, very important sector, and we are going to talk about a very important topic as well. We are focusing today on one of the most critical sectors of economy, the housing finance and loan against property. Globally as well, the housing finance has been a key driver both of economic growth and people of my generation who are slightly older. Also, the downturn that we saw in 2007, it drives economic growth. It enables millions of people, now billions of people, to achieve home ownership, and it provides a very stable asset class both for individuals and financial institutions. And now, globally, the finance market is quite big. It's close to $4.5 trillion. It's poised to go to close to $33 trillion by 2030. And this next set of growth will not come from developed countries. It will come from developing countries like India. And as our disposable income grows, and as we are looking to go become the third largest economy in the world in the next 5 years, more and more people will be able to afford houses, not just afford houses, but how do we look at houses, real estate, property as an asset class in itself. We will discuss all of that, and we'll also discuss how this growth will be delivered. If you are a bank or a housing finance company, how do you ride this big wave that is coming, right? Whenever there is a big wave coming, you can either ride it, you can swim with it, or you can sink against it. But as a company, there is a huge headroom for all the companies to grow. And for the companies to grow, you need to ride this growth. And to ride the growth, you need to have a focus on building skills in your sales teams, in your growth teams, teams that will bring in revenue. So that is why we have called this event driving peak performance in sales in housing finance. And we have somebody very special to discuss that. We have Bindya Sharma. Bindya has worked with HDFC Bank, which is the largest name in India when it comes to housing finance. She has worked in multiple uh, sectors at HDFC. Post that, she has been a faculty with NIIT, IFBI, and she has worked with multiple companies looking at how to build sales skills. She has been a trainer, coach, facilitator. So, Bindya, it's an absolute privilege to have you on the podcast. I know it's you are fasting today, so I will not keep you for long. We'll try to stick to the time. But first of all, a huge welcome on this podcast, The Human Quotient.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. Thank you so much. And I'm highly privileged to be part of this forum and even on this auspicious day.
Absolutely. And no, you have seen the housing finance market. Let's talk about the um, of how the housing finance market itself has evolved in the last 30 years. What has your experience been working with institutions in this sector?
Sudhanshu, for me, what shift I have seen is earlier house was a very emotional quotient kind of a thing that ye
Yeah.
mera ghar hai, and people used to talk about like that. But now I have seen a recent shift in the Gen Z who is talking about investments. Yes, from
Yes.
matlab, I actually from a human quotient when you were talking about it was great,
Yeah.
but I have seen a recent shift with this Gen Z who is not emotionally attached with these walls, and they look at it an investment count, and they are growing. And I am
Good.
not only talking about people who are salaried or who are actually getting salary of a higher packages. I am even
Hmm.
talking about people who are in the same generation, BPL people below the poverty line. Even when I meet them, I find them, there is a
Yeah,
fire in them. And they say,
absolutely.
हमने खरीदा, हमने बेचा. And मतलब, when they talk about like that, it gives me again a sense of flavor in them. Yeah, that's good. What have we have done since generations?
Yeah,
Probably my dad attached and I being attached. ये मेरा कमरा है. They say we grow, we will sell, and we will go
yeah,
to a higher house. Or they are
yeah.
looking for investment purposes and a regular source of income.
Yeah. So what I have seen, let me share my experience as well. And my prior banking experience, we saw that evolve 2007 to, 27 to close to 2020. The kind of evolution that we have seen is what you said about as well. Um, House always has been an emotional purchase for many people. It was emotional because it was a once in a lifetime purchase that our parents used to do. So पहले होता था कि you work through your entire life, when you retire possibly that is the only time you land a kitty for yourself where you can build your sapno ka
Ah,
ghar, and you get so emotionally attached to it. And in India, unfortunately, as we were, we are a very developing country. We were, there is not a lot of generational wealth apart from the top 1% of the population. So a lot of us did not inherit houses, and all of that happened. A lot of our parents put in a lot of hard work, worked for 30, 40 years, built a house. Now coming to our generation and the generation that is going to follow, house possibly will be a more rational decision, more of asset creation, more of investment opportunities, right? uh, no longer are people going to wait for 50s and 60s to build their houses. I see, in my company, I see 20, 25 years old. Some people are like, even girls, like, I want to buy a house before I get married. That shift of mind, and it is not from a just that I want to live into it, but I want to create an alternate source of income. I want to, there are multiple things how young people are looking at they are looking at financial freedom through this asset class. So it will be a wonderful conversation as we go along. And I will first, let's talk about two things. One is housing finance, where you get a finance to buy a house, build a house, then also loan against property, right? Uh, where is the shift in mentality in these two sectors? What's the basic difference?
see, these both are exactly a different streams.
Yeah.
In the first case, you are buying a house, a flat, or you are constructing, or you are renovating it by, I have a ground floor and I'm building a first floor. Then the home loan comes into existence. Or,
Absolutely.
okay, or I am buying a plot and I'm constructing it also. That is plot purchase plus construction.
Hmm.
So that also falls into home loan. I want to buy a flat, a freehold property, that is also comes into home loans. But when you talk about LAP, that the word says loan against property. That means you are already holding a property and you are
Hmm.
taking a loan against that property. I might not have a security or anything else, but I have a house.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I might enter it and take, because as probably tomorrow my child uh, is going abroad. How much education loan I will be offered?
Yeah.
Or how much education loan will I prefer that she takes it? Or tomorrow,
Absolutely.
even if she's into medical streams, and nowadays, if you see the prices of the education, buying a medical stream in an MBBS is 1 CR
Yeah.
crossing. So,
Yeah.
so the house is one only the biggest security which you have, and you
Hmm.
go about it. And
Absolutely.
I think so. The Gen Z we are talking about is not fighting about for roti, kapda, and makan. They already have
Absolutely.
that. So they are fighting for something else, which we, I
Right.
think so, our generation might have fought, or our parents actually fought for. Or probably our parents, I think so, my dad would have written in his will कि ये घर अगले 20 साल नहीं बिकेगा. That this, I
Yeah.
have an emotional attachment with it, but I think so. But It's a mode of
Yeah,
investments now.
it is. It
So
is. It
people are
is.
taking loan, and probably tomorrow so Danshu, you yourself want to start a startup. So you already have a house in hand, and all other paper property documents you have, everything you have in hand. So you will find that I will rather give this as a security rather by borrowing it from an unorganized sector.
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and for that matter, lap is more cheaper comparative to any other loan.
Yeah. So this is the easiest. I would say the most economic capital that a mid-income household can create is through loan against property. And if you keep the emotions aside, where when we grew up, we used to have movies where "Hamara makan girvi ho gaya" and all of that, where a lot
Huh.
of emotional attachment to it.
Yes.
But now, if you look at from an asset class, if you look at as a security to generate low interest capital, and you can use it for multiple purposes. You can use it for investment, you can use it for education, you can use it for, I don't know, if you want to live a life a little, a vacation of your
Yeah.
dreams, you can use it as you like, right? So let's talk about that. So now, and I was doing my research, and India, despite being the fifth largest economy, our housing finance, our mortgage sector is the 10th largest. Okay. So because even countries like Canada and Australia, the housing finance as a sector is bigger than India's, because home ownership rates in India are still very low. Even though you have the wonderful programs like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and there are some subsidies given for affordable housing. Uh, Affordable housing is part of uh, the
It's
that
a part
sector.
of
I
the
forgot.
priority sector also. It's a
Priority
part of the
sector lending,
priority
right?
sector, yeah.
Priority sector
And
lending.
the rate
So
of
yes,
interest are as low as anything.
yes. In
And the
good times, you can
return
have
on,
loans that are 7.58%, right?
yes.
Given your good credit score. So the home ownership itself in India is bound to grow as we grow along. As our disposable incomes grow, people will buy not just first houses, they will buy second houses, they will buy holiday homes, they will buy homes for investment. So that's home ownership itself in India is going to go up. And coming for mortgage or loan against property, in India, in US, that sector is also so evolved. You take first mortgages, second mortgages. There are I see that loan against property, both these sectors to grow really big, right? However, when we talk about this, we have worked with NBFCs, we have worked with banks. Though they know that there is a headwind, there is a room for all of them to grow and grow really fast, but they are struggling in terms of getting that growth, because to get that growth, you need people, and especially you need salespeople who can go articulate solution, ask the right questions, talk to the person, create a solution for that person. So let's talk about the role of the salespeople, and not just the role about the salespeople, but also if you were heading a team of housing finance and loan products, what are the key skills and qualities that you would be looking for when you hire salespeople?
So Danshu, I very well say that I myself is a parent, and I very time quoted that I am not training my child for a job. So the generation which is coming here, they are not being trained. And
Mm-hmm.
if I hope if you remember our times, our parents would have shouted at us also, or I doubt it आपको शायद नहीं पड़ी होगी, पर I think so my mom would have
बहुत
given
पड़ी
me
है.
a good might given a good
Yeah.
time. But
Mm-hmm.
now to get another sector, another generation, how many times have we hit the my child,
Mm-hmm.
and the tantrums which come from them? is a high peak. So, and these people are
Absolutely.
only the generation which is coming for jobs, because you touched
Yeah.
on a human quotient point. So first I am touching that human quotient for you, that I believe that even I am into a working culture, but I cannot train them. And for them, 5 baj gaye chutti means chutti. They say, why extensive hours? And as a leader, I really, matlab, there is such a gap of generational issues where a leader is probably in his 30s, and the young guy who has joined him is in 22, 23, because now a fresh graduate also comes into working culture. And
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
day one he enters, me as a leader will talk about, bus, go get the dhanda from the market. The
Yeah.
business is the key to success. How can we expect on the day one he can go to the market?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Please,
Got
please
it?
carry on. Yeah.
How
So,
how
so
can you
let's
expect him?
right. So we'll talk about both these things. You spoke about expectations from the new generation or the salespeople who are getting in. Also, what is the role of a manager or the boss, right? So we need to look at both these things. But let's talk about the qualities that the salesperson, the frontline salesperson, needs to have in this dynamic sector. How would what would you look in such a person?
I always believe that a person should actually be very passionate for this job. Actually, that
Okay.
passion, and they should understand that this is a high selling product also.
Yeah.
A house is not that, because this is appreciable. Appreciate
Yeah.
karega na,
Bilkul.
you will never. I might buy a Mercedes or I might buy a BMW. I might buy it on a loan, but will it
Hmm.
appreciate?
Yeah.
The day it is out from the gate, it is already 25% down,
Absolutely.
and interest rate has risen. But a home loan is one investment which I believe will appreciate at both angles. So first
Absolutely.
you need to imbibe in yourself that it is very important. And they think that as soon as I will bump into you, Sudhanshu, I will crack the deal. It is not possible. First of
Yeah.
all, the
Yeah.
sales guy needs to understand you first.
Hmm.
Who are you? What are your expectations? And whenever you come and these guys come back and you ask them, क्यों नहीं हुआ? They will say, सुधांशु के पास तो already घर था. Why will he buy another house?
Yeah.
Why will he buy another house? But they don't understand that, okay, Sudhanshu might have 2 children. Or tomorrow, Sudhanshu will be also 60 years and he's not getting any pension. Why not make
Yeah.
it another house for a regular income flow? Or probably he has 2 children, he can build 2 houses by the age of 60, and okay, one asset goes to one and the other asset goes to another.
Right.
Why he wants to have a drift for both the children ki ek property bechna और उसको दोनों divide कर लेना? That is another struggle. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so, first of all, the probing part and
Yeah.
knowing the customer. Everybody talks about KYC, but people talk about KYC is only mental Aadhaar card and a passport.
Yeah. That's
Nobody
the challenge.
understand what KYC is.
Right.
Malab,
Right.
I've been working across industry and I'm making hard to make people understand that what KYC is. KYC, these are only supporting documents to KYC that I am on the right Sudhanshu or not. But
Yeah.
apart from that,
Yeah.
you have to have a knowledge about the person.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
only you
Absolutely.
can. A
Yeah.
businessman can also do it, a salaried and a self-employed. Is this is the higher rate of investment we have? ROI is the highest on this.
Absolutely. So, there is a lot of conversation, and there are a lot of financial influencers nowadays. Everybody is an influencer. You know? Everybody with a phone and a camera. Everybody is an influencer these days, and there is a lot of debate that goes on uh, between buying a house, renting a house, and all of that. But if you look from a pure asset class, right? Real estate equity, of course, has given. equity, gold, real estate, these three have been the highest yielding asset class. If you take the last 20 years, 30 years. And if you believe in the India story, if you believe in that we are going to grow, which I 100% do, the world does, right? So we know that this asset class is going to increase. So you spoke about from a salespeople person's mindset. I I hear three things. I hear probing, definitely. I hear how do you understand your customers? How do you understand? It's not just about say ICP or KYC. It is it is also about how do you put that person in his wants, needs, what is it that person can achieve, what is their immediate goals, future goals. It's almost like selling an asset class, selling an insurance or a mutual fund. It's like that, right? And I also understand the solution mindset. These are the three things that you spoke about. Okay, before we go ahead and take another question, there is a go ahead and me asking you another question. There's a question coming from the from audience where is, does the interest rate on a home loan change based on my salary? If my wife's salary is higher than mine and we apply for a joint home loan, what factors will bank consider when determining the interest rate?
Understand, Sudhanshu. A bank or an NBFC or an HFC just cannot. Tomorrow you get up and tell me, I need 10 crores of funding for a home loan. I'm buying a home. It is for 15 crores. 85% funding you are doing. So you give me. It is not possible
Okay.
because people are not funding or banks are not funding you. For that, they will not have the return. कि हमारे पास 15 करोड़ का घर है and banks are not thinking that they will sell the house and get their money back.
Yeah,
Bank's profit only comes when you will pay the EMIs.
absolutely.
Got it? Is your profile suitable for paying the EMI?
Yeah,
If you are a
yeah,
riskier profile, the rate of interest has to be higher because the risk taking appetite of the bank is also increasing towards you.
absolutely. Yeah.
I
So
might,
here
I
there are
also go for a loan and you also go for a loan. We might both be
absolutely,
earning same, but my dependent members would might be more than yours. I am a more
absolutely,
riskier profile because if anything happens in my house, I will first stop the EMI.
absolutely. So there is a term that bank uses, which is called FOIR, or it's fixed income to obligation ratio, wherein they say for that answer, say you might have a salary of say 1 lakh rupee, but you might have existing obligations of say 75,000 rupees. So which gives you a headwind of over the disposable income of only 25,000 rupees. So your ability to serve a loan or the EMI of 25,000 rupees, that is how it is. It is always beneficial, say for joint applicants, if both members of the family, more than one member of family are earning. So your fixed income to obligation ratio goes down. So your disposable income goes up, right? It also banks have multiple checklists. First is how much you earn, how say for example, are you work what kind of sector are you working in, is your job more stable, how long have you been in the job, uh, right? It is also your history, prior history, how are you serving your current debts. So there are multiple things that go there. The other part of that is if your wife's salary is higher, it possibly will make more sense to make her the primary applicant, and you becoming the co-applicant in that case. So there are multiple factors that go here. Is your current obligations, how long have you been in a job, how stable is your job, your
And
sector,
Sudhanshu,
uh,
wife's name also
location of the
has to be in the property.
yes, yes, there are
That is
multiple
very
benefits to that.
important. Yes. So
Yes,
that is where people really need to understand that they are, if you are adding them, you want to take a loan for them, their name also needs to be in that.
yeah. So this say if your wife becomes the co-applicant, she has ownership in the property, definitely. So and government has this tax rebates that you get on stamp duty and other things, that the rebates on stamp duty and other things if you get if you have a joint applicant who's your spouse. So yes, So from the LinkedIn, this answer that has come, my suggestion would be if your wife's salary is higher than yours, do jointly apply for a loan. Think of making your wife the primary applicant, and also see what other obligations you already have. Also, the nature of the property also matters. Sometimes, the builder, or are you taking a loan? You're building, constructing a house. All of this go into the picture while getting what kind of a loan you will get, how what kind of interest rate you will get, right? So there are multiple factors, but if you have been in a steady job for more than 3 years, you have ITRs and income statements to match that. I'm very sure that you can get a good interest rate on that. All right. Okay. Moving on, Vidya, this sector, a lot we see a lot of questions, a lot of videos coming in from toxic work cultures. Now, you also said that day one, as somebody joins, and the expectation from that person is, can you get me a case login karo jitni jaldi, तुम्हारा log तुमने case login किया. However, there is a role of the manager. If you really want your team to perform, the role of a manager becomes very, very important. In this sector, what do you feel the role of a team lead or a manager should be?
See, first of all, the manager should understand that the persons who are joining him
Hmm.
needs to take time to
Yeah.
blend with your organization. On the day one, they do not take the ownership. They are not
Huh?
accountable for anything. Everything takes time to blend into this culture. But
Absolutely.
nobody has time to give it to anyone
Yeah. That's the
because
truth.
day on day targets, month on month targets shoots up. And we have seen a reverse trend now where people,
Hmm.
rather than talking, people, I mean to say, here are my banks and NBFCs, where a couple of people have started investing into their managers how
Hmm.
to give feedback, and where they have their client, their juniors, whom we are telling them, teaching them how to take the feedback.
Absolutely.
If manager is saying something to you, it is not always to be taken as critical.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Reason, if you remember, I quoted right now, is that it is we who have not training the right generation. We are not telling them how to work under someone. And I doubted how many startups would work. Every house will have a startup. It's very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it is very
So when I
important.
look, it is. And how involved is that leader in transferring the market knowledge? The thing that we discussed, I don't expect a person who has joined yesterday to know all of this, go into the market, demonstrate that understanding, sell to a client, and log in on in the first what do you say, 15-20 days. So if as a person leading a sales team of housing finance or lab, if your expectation is that a kid has come, done the MBA, or has done graduation, joined your team, you expect him or her to go and log in a case without you prepping that person up, is not a fair expectation, right? So
Not at all
that is
possible.
not at all, right? So that is where we work with enterprises to build wonderful onboarding journeys, which is a combination of product knowledge, sales skills, behavioral skills, all of that. And similarly for the managers itself, you spoke about giving feedback, delegating tasks, and all of that, right? That is so important when you want to create a team that consistently performs, right? Now, I want to also understand from you that buying a house, though we have become more mechanical about it, is still to a large extent a trust based decision. It is a emotional decision also, say, especially if you are a newly married a couple looking to buy a first house and all of that. It is still a decision that, here you, at the end of the day, buy from a person, right? The company behind it becomes to some extent secondary, right? So my question to you is, in this sector where building trust with the client is so important, right? How does a salesperson, what are the strategies that are more effective in building trust with customers?
Sudhanshu, it's apart from people don't talk to each other first.
Yeah.
The sales guy come on the pitch first and then understand the customer.
Yeah.
It is very important. Just because you were talking about the newly wedded, I am just giving you an example because
Mm,
now in tune I am back into training now, but still that instinct of selling is still into me. I don't know why.
mm,
I go to these sabji walas and buying my vegetables, and I always will guide them. Yaar, unorganized sector say do not pick up money. It is too expensive for you.
yeah.
And matlab, you guide them, and matlab, at times I feel that what is the need for me? But I believe that that sales is in me. So when you were talking
Absolutely.
about the newly wedded, I was just in a training program where I catch hold of a guy and he was telling, "Ma'am, meri shaadi ho rahi hai." I said, "Okay, good. When are you getting married?" And he said XYZ date, and okay, all set. I said, "Okay." So I'm planning to throw 4 5 functions. So many relatives will come. I have to give the buas also a gift and everything. And he calculated, I think so, around 60 70 lakh of rupees when he was calculating ki hotel mein karna hai. People will also stay in a hotel room, and the costing for 5 days came out to this. Okay, when he ended, I said, "How much have you earned till now? Have you saved 60 70 lakhs? And if you have saved, then you are spending that 70 lakhs and you will become to zero." He said, "Yes." Or I said, "Whatever your dad has earned till now, will spend on the marriage and it will come to zero." Kehta, "Yes." And when he ended, I said, "Why don't you figure out that whatever the girl's family has to spend or give it to her, and what you have to spend and give it to her, why not build a house for yourself?" And
Mm,
for a second, he said, I said, "I will come to your shadi and pay you 1100, 2100, or max 3100. And I will be out of that area. You will never remember what I did with you, what I did, what. And apart from that, our relationship will still be the same what we are today. But that house would always be there for you." And it was a long discussion. It did not happen in war. Two,
mhm.
3 days, I had a continuous training at that place. And every lunch break, he used to call me, "Ma'am, we'll have lunch together." And I always tell the sales guy, if the person calls you the second time, you
Yeah.
have a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Always your first meeting can never be fruitful,
Mhm.
but hit
Absolutely.
the right point. If I wouldn't have known about the person, I would have never talked about it.
Yeah.
And when exactly I touched that point, and because it's way back, I'm talking about an year back, and just few days earlier he was supposed to get married, and he said, "Ma'am, हमने गुरुद्वारे में शादी कर ली, and now I have flat in Zirakpur, and please आप घर देखने आना." I was so thrilled. मैं I told him, मैंने
Absolutely.
कहा तुझे 2100 रुपए का शगन अभी भी मिल जाएगा. It will be
Yeah. Yeah.
there for you. It is meant for you. It will come to you only. But what you have made would have been very difficult in your lifespan to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now you can
Absolutely.
invest that amount and make your safety and security.
This solutioning, is, there are types of customers who know what they want. Sometimes even the customer doesn't know what they want, right? And what you're saying is unearthing something, a hidden need in somebody. With, if I spend 50, 60 lakhs in something, I would rather invest that and create an asset for myself, right? So the salesperson, you what you demonstrated is the ability of a salesperson to go beyond. And no, it's not that you hit a wall saying acha isko to ghar hi nahi kharidna. You, in fact, you went around a person who did not need a house, and that person took your advice. Of course, you're not a salesperson here, but even as a salesperson, if you first become good at holding conversations, that helps you win the trust. And of course, if you really understand that space, for me it is more about the combination of market knowledge, product knowledge, and the customer knowledge. And they're different. That is where we can talk about customer segments, right? And I know we have last 10 minutes, and there is a comment from there, right? So if there is no, so that in private sector, especially for salespeople, salaries are lower, there is no job security, and they face intense pressure with constant micromanagement compared to government roles. Uh, yes, though the government sector is changing as well, but job is a job, right? And I take the word there. You have to do whatever it takes till the time you can do whatever you want, right? कुछ समय तक you need to be, and it. I think sales is one skill. Ma'am, you can talk to me about it, but I feel sales is one skill which will continue to serve you irrespective of what sector you go to, right? You might have a difficult time in some of the sectors in the beginning of the years, but if you really acquire the skills that you are talking about, if you become a really good salesperson, you will have a wonderful one of some of the highest paid people across the globe are very good salespeople, right?
Truly.
So let's talk about the segmentation that we spoke about. Let's just say, for example, somebody who's a student now versus somebody like we spoke about a couple who's got married. So somebody like me who has spent 15 years in a career, are possibly in a more stable job compared to somebody 10 years elder to me who's looking at retirement, to somebody who has just retired. These are all different customer segments with different needs. How does a salesperson go understand their needs? What is the kind of segmentation I need to have to drive my sales calls?
See, first of all, if you do not have a product knowledge,
Mhm.
I have a child, आपने उसको home loan बता दिया, what is home loan?
Mhm.
Understand first of all what he needs to know. He needs to know your product first. For whom
Yeah,
is this
yeah, yeah.
product for? And this is the role of the manager comes. And I am sorry, I'm talking on this forum. Many people do not even spend 2 hours on inductions training.
Yeah, yeah,
This is actually
absolutely.
for me is a very serious. I believe it's a crime. You are throwing somebody in the market who doesn't know about your company
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have a ownership for the company, or am I being proud for being a part of that company? First we need to understand that. So give a
Yeah.
person a space, tell him about the product, and with your experience, tell him that where he can pitch, how he can pitch, or a buddy kind of an effect can be given to him where he can go with all an existing salesperson. Even Sudhanshu, you might have 15 years of experience in this space. But if tomorrow you shift from one company to another, you will not become a actually the sense of ownership or the sense of pride that I'm a part of this company will take a lot of time.
It
That
will. It will.
mine. So
Absolutely.
I believe that first of all, induction should be done in a very good go where they should know what the company is all about. Sometimes nowadays the NBFCs or HFCs, because they are different. HFCs are housing finance companies only dealing into this. So these are those companies who have started from a very small capital, and when we see them in down the line in 5 or 10 years, they are into thousands and crore of business.
Yeah,
And see, your
absolutely.
eyebrows just raised up on listening this. So first of all, tell the child or the employee who has joined you that what organization are you joining.
Right? Absolutely.
That is the pride and the growth you will fall into. All developed countries could not give growth, so how developed companies in India will give growth? So these smaller companies are giving you good growth.
Right?
You are being promoted at a higher level, your salary structures are changing, and day on day basis new products are being added into them. And give him a space, a time to gel into the existence. Then moreover, people do
Absolutely.
not know about their catchment areas. They
Yeah,
do not think out of the box only. They do not know, matlab, say called if my office is might be in a commercial space, what I have to my left, what I have to my right, what I have in my front and what I have in my back, I do not even aware of it. I will go to the DST channels only, knocking their doors, file de do, file de do, file de do. आज
yeah,
मैनेजर ने डंडा मारा है तो फाइल दे दो. They not even bothered what kind of a profile they are getting by that. And if you
absolutely.
see how much growth is happening is very important. From I might have taken a loan from an XYZ company. A sales guy, I'm sorry, I'm taking your name. You might have left XYZ company and now joined ABC company. Rather than you getting a new loan for me, what will you do? An existing loan which was going in XYZ company, you will tell them to close the loan, BT kara do. That means a balance transfer to your ABC company.
Yeah,
Okay. So why are matlab, with that Sudhanshu is being appreciated, and
yeah,
probably a young guy who against you might have not got this 60 lakhs of loan but might have got 20 lakh of loans by directly approaching to the client, where there is no intermediary like a DST or VLE's channel. But
yeah,
the manager will not appreciate this 20 lakh guy and will put Sudhanshu on the boom, rising in the WhatsApp family, social media, everything. Sudhanshu, wow, will have a red carpet welcome. And
yeah,
this 20 lakh guys feel that what have I done? And sooner the times to come, he will leave and go. And he
absolutely.
was the right product also for you, but nobody tried to save him.
Yeah,
It is not only that these guys have a problem, even we are not understanding, we are only thinking of volumes,
quotas.
junk
Yeah,
what we are getting. We are not understanding that usme se how much have we paid out to the other vendors in between. What is the
absolutely.
profitability are you getting it?
So I get that part, and that is where I'm so hopeful on this segment, right? That BT is one part of fulfilling your quota, but what you need to look at that this pie itself is going to get bigger. It is going to get multifold bigger. You know, uh, 10 years back, 50 lakh used to be a good amount for a home loan for a middle class. It's not anymore, right? It's not just that people are buying first houses, second houses in Gurgaon and all. There are houses worth 10 CR being sold. So there is a huge new opportunity, and we spoke about this, that housing loan and lab, both these sectors are just going to boom. There is close to, I think, if I'm not wrong, 25% CAGR projected over the next 15 years. A year on year, this sector is going to grow 25%, from 4.5 trillion globally to say 33 trillion globally. And a lot of that will be driven by countries like India, people who have never had permanent houses. They have more houses. Even if government say gives them a PMAY, there is a lot. There is home improvement, there is lab, there are multiple things that is going to open up. And as you said, it's there are multiple things that organizations need to do. They need to have a very If with your permission, if I can share my screen, you know, we work with organizations, and housing finance is one area where we have worked extensively. And you talk about business development people, there are multiple programs you write about, from onboarding to their programs of people who have already been here. How do you improve their productivity? To their managers, now how do you improve the quality of people who are mentoring these folks, right? How do you create a 30, 60, 90-day plan for people who are coming in? And even people like the big guys, like, the state heads, the area heads, what kind of skills they need to know? That this house did, how much of a, are you good at delegation? Are you good at emotional intelligence? Are you good at communicating? Are you good at motivating people? Are you growing people within you? All of that, there is, if you want to be a successful salesperson, and you will do yourself a favor if you are one, because as we discussed, sales is one career that will yield you results. Even not now, like, I know
Truly,
people who, yes, so you
truly,
if you are a good
I have
salesperson.
seen sales guys who do not leave their sales job because they say, "मैम इसमें incentive बहुत ज़्यादा है."
Yeah,
I don't want to go and become a branch head. We keep on telling them, yeah, you will get those bonuses and everything. Your salary will rise. They say, ma'am, every month what incentive I get, I'm happy with what I'm getting.
yeah. And sales skills are, I call, to a large extent, they are like swimming, they are life skills. एक छोटे बच्चे से लेके till the time you are on this earth, all the skills are going to help you, provided you look at it in a scientific way. And that is where we have worked with 100 plus organizations to drive this. And I know that today is an important day, auspicious day, and thank you so much for taking out time to discuss this on a day like this. So my, and as we end this conversation, I promise you that around 45, 50 minutes we'll try to close it and not push it. What would your
Sudhanshu, training
thoughts
is
be?
one my passion. That when I enter into it, people know me for that matter. That she forgets everything. I
Mhm.
forget everything. This is such. I'm so passionate about this work when it comes to it.
Absolutely.
So actually, I am not even looked at the clock, and it doesn't matter what happens after that. But when I am in this forum, I you don't know what I am. I'm a very different of myself.
Mhm.
So then that is when I talk about people. Also, I talk about passion, and you have touched a lot of times that you abroad when you were talking about that
Mhm.
our other developing countries are doing more, and we are 10th in the ranking. But the statistic says the people who have flown from India to abroad,
Yeah.
max 2 to 4 years they take to build a house there.
Yeah.
दे
Yeah.
आर पीपल इंडिया में ये एक हमारे ब्लड में है कि मेक एन
Yeah. Yeah.
एसेट फॉर योरसेल्फ छत हमारी अपनी होनी चाहिए
Yeah.
एंड दे
Canadian
आर द
housing boom is
वंस
driven by Indians who have gone there in the
yes
last 10 years.
that is
Yeah.
what I'm saying you were talking about these countries and I was thinking that any even going on a student visa would first look after कि मैं घर ले लूं
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to have a
Mm.
house.
Absolutely.
It is very important and these guys are really outshining in the first 4 years they will have a house doing multiple jobs, odd jobs, everything will they will do. They say, why are we paying the rentals so high rentals?
Yeah.
Rather than we will give the EMI and have a ready to move house.
Absolutely. It is also in cities like Bangalore and Mumbai where rentals are going through the roof, right? Uh, Buying a house sometimes, you know, that can be that can be another discussion that we can do a little later. But I still feel that I, I'm pretty confident that this sector is going to go. There are still a lot more that we can do as a country. So yeah, um, so I would like to end this conversation, this wonderful conversation that we have had for the last 50 minutes, by saying that, as this sector booms, The role of managers definitely become very, very important. There is a skill set that managers need to develop. The role of HR and L&D into setting up things the right way. So the attrition is all time high. I know people I know companies where the
30%?
attrition is 30-40%, right?
Yes.
Especially in the new hires. And it is all a lot of that is because people do not undergo a structured induction. They don't know the market, they don't know how to segment the customers, they don't know how to pitch, probe. And when the manager says you're not logging in the numbers, that person is bound to quit. So if you want to control your attrition, you need to invest in building people capabilities. And that is where,
Truly.
we have people like Bindia who has helped us do at multiple clients. So Bindia, thank you so much for taking out time today and discussing this. I will not keep you any further, but any parting thoughts that you have?
No, no. I always believe, and I always say for the female segment, one liner, because now, though I have nieces who have my own daughters who are working, and where I tell them that girls, it is very important that you build a house.
Mhm.
Uh, I always say that first of all, when I would build my own house, the first pride I will give it to my parents.
Yeah,
And tomorrow, if anything happens in my married life, also, whatever I get, but I do not get a house. So I always tell these young girls that build the house, and the sense of independence only comes when you have the house of your own.
yeah,
And nobody can throw you out from the house. And the day anything happens, you don't even have to go to your parents' place. Why
absolutely,
we should go on a mercy of someone when I have built up my own house?
absolutely.
Look at the level of sign of independence and sign of pride. I believe what I am saying right now because I have done that to my own self.
Yeah,
And the day I built it, I said yes. And now I tell all these young girls who comes as entrepreneurs that first build a house. I do not want to talk about woman empowerment every down line. Woman empowerment, first empower your own self.
yeah, yeah,
Why do you need management fees from or your regular maintenance fees from someone? Why is it required? We can earn our
yeah,
own. So the day you will have your own house, you are maintaining your own self.
yeah. It's a
So
financial freedom. It's road to, make decisions. So yeah,
truly,
mm, I truly believe in that, and I know with this, I wish more people buy houses. I wish more companies sell houses, sell housing products. And so if you need help on building the right sales skills, Vindhya and Antwalk is there to help you out. So if you're tuning in with that note, thank you so much for joining in today. Uh, you have a good day, and whoever is tuned in, whichever part of the world you are in, you have a great day as well. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for making me on this forum. Thank you so much for making me my own self today. Thank you.
You have a lovely day. This is me signing off,
Thank
and yep.